The first sound was a thud of a body against a desk, not a gentle shift, not the accidental brush of knees. A full, breath-knocking thud. Claire froze halfway down the hallway, her pulse spiking so hard she felt it in her throat. The conference room door was open just an inch, just enough for a sliver of light to escape and paint a thin, accusing stripe across the dark corridor. Then came the whisper. Low, urgent, male, and then a sharper one, female, breathless, flustered. Claire's stomach twisted violently. She didn't think. Her hand slammed the door wide open. Inside, her lead project manager and the junior financial analyst broke apart like guilty teenagers caught behind a movie theater. Papers scattered. Her expensive client proposal booklet was half crushed beneath the manager's palm. What the hell is going on? Claire's voice cracked like glass, too loud, too raw. Both employees scrambled upright, their faces ghost white. Claire, it's not what you think. It was a mistake. We were just talking. Talking, she snapped, with your hands all over each other. Her voice was jagged, trembling with emotion she didn't expect. Betrayal, yes, but also fear. Because she'd built this business on discipline, control. Lines weren't meant to blur here. Not personal, not intimate. Get out, she said finally, each word clipped. Both of you. They obeyed instantly. The door shut behind them, leaving her alone in the hush of the cold fluorescent-lit room. She steadied herself against the table, inhaling hard. This wasn't the betrayal that would break her life. Not yet, but it was the first spider crack in the glass. Hours later, she sat alone in her office, city lights blinking through the window like distant, unreachable stars. She rubbed her temples, exhausted. She needed the new client, needed the deal, needed the revenue, needed the stability. She also needed sleep. Her phone vibrated. A text from her husband. Oliver, running late again? Should I wait up? Guilt pricked her chest, not because of the message, but because she hadn't told him about the employee incident. It felt personal somehow, messy, close to the bone. She typed back, Claire, don't wait up. Long day. She stared at the words before hitting send. Oliver would assume long day meant stress, or meetings, or spreadsheets. He wouldn't imagine the truth. He rarely imagined anything dark. He believed in her too much. It was both comforting and suffocating. Her door swung open without a knock. Hope I'm not interrupting. Her breath caught. Ethan Vale stepped inside, her newest client, the one she'd spent months courting, analyzing, anticipating. Tall, composed, dark suit tailored to quiet perfection. He crossed the room with an easy confidence, as if he'd always belonged there. Claire straightened. You're early. You seem tense. He took the seat across from her. Everything all right? She hesitated. Why was it so easy to talk to him? Too easy. She shouldn't. She knew better. But the isolation of the night, the earlier confrontation, Oliver's gentle text, everything pressed heavily on her chest. No, she admitted quietly. Not really. Tell me, he said, leaning forward, his voice soft enough to feel like an invitation. And she did. She told him everything about the employees, the betrayal, the way trust cracked like ice beneath pressure. He listened intensely, eyes sharpened with understanding rather than judgment. When she finished, he exhaled, You carry too much alone. I have to, she replied. That's the job. Or maybe, Ethan said, you just think it has to be. A dangerous warmth spread through her. Ethan didn't look at her like a business partner. He looked at her like someone who wanted to understand her, someone who saw not the CEO but the woman underneath the armor. It was intoxicating. And wrong. He stood, walked around the desk, and stopped beside her. If you need someone to talk to, genuinely talk to, I'm here. Resistance flickered inside her, but Ethan's presence felt like gravity, quiet, steady, irresistible. She should have pushed him away. Instead, she whispered, I shouldn't. He held her gaze. Sometimes the things we shouldn't do are the things we've needed for far too long. Her breath trembled, and then he kissed her. Hard, certain, hungry. The guilt didn't come right away. For one blissful, dangerous second, she let the kiss swallow her. Then her mind snapped back and she staggered away. Ethan, wait! This is a mistake. Claire. His tone softened, controlled. You don't have to pretend you don't feel it too. She closed her eyes, breathing fast. I'm married. I know. 3 quiet words. Unsettled. Too calm. She didn't register the oddness at the time. She also didn't tell him to leave. The affair began 3 weeks later. Not with a kiss. Not with an impulsive moment. With a conversation. A long, vulnerable conversation in his car after a late meeting. One that felt so safe she forgot to protect the parts of herself she normally guarded. She told him about her childhood, her ambitions, her insecurities. He shared pieces of himself too. Stories about deals gone wrong, trust broken by partners, loneliness in hotel rooms during endless travel. It was emotional intimacy long before it was physical. And emotional intimacy is the most dangerous kind. Soon, secrecy became its own oxygen. Texts hidden under the table. Hotel meetings disguised as networking dinners. Hearts beating too fast. Bodies moving too close. With Ethan, she felt wanted. Seen. Desired, not as a business powerhouse, but as a woman. With Oliver, she felt known. Safe. Loved. 2 kinds of intimacy. One legal. One lethal. She told herself she could control it. She told herself she deserved a moment of feeling alive. She told herself it would end soon. Every lie felt easier than the truth. She didn't want it to end. But the guilt grew heavier with each meeting. After every kiss, every shared breath, she found herself rushing home in shame, scrubbing the scent of Ethan's cologne from her skin before climbing into bed beside her unsuspecting husband. Oliver slept peacefully most nights, curled toward her like he always had. Sometimes he murmured her name in his sleep. Claire. She buried her face in the dark, suffocating. What she didn't know, what she couldn't have suspected, was that Oliver wasn't sleeping as deeply as he pretended. And Ethan wasn't just a client drawn to a married woman. He was something else entirely. A quiet collector of truths. A man on someone else's peril. A man who knew exactly who Claire's husband was, and had known long before their first kiss. The betrayal she feared from her employees was nothing compared to the betrayal quietly forming in the shadows, and she was walking straight into it. The downfall began with a sound she'd heard 1,000 times before. Oliver's footsteps in the hallway. Except tonight they were wrong. Too measured, too slow, too intentional. Claire looked up from her laptop as a bedroom door creaked open. Oliver stood there, his tie loosened, his expression unreadable, and something inside her chest tightened. "You're home early," she said, forcing her voice into normalcy. "I know." He didn't smile. He set his briefcase down. The click echoed like a gavel strike. Then he said something that rooted her in place. "We need to talk." Everything inside her body went cold. She swallowed. "About what?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he walked to the dresser, opened the top drawer, and pulled out something small and black. A digital recorder. Claire's heart seized violently. "Oliver, what is that?" He turned it over in his hands, almost gently. "Something I didn't want to buy. Something I hoped I'd never need." His voice cracked the way her heart had when she'd caught her employees in the conference room, raw and unfamiliar. Then he pressed play. Ethan's voice filled the room instantly. "Claire, I can't stop thinking about you. Meet me after the presentation. Same hotel. Your husband doesn't have to know." Her knees nearly buckled. The recorder clattered from her hand to the floor, nausea rolling through her in thick, suffocating waves. Oliver didn't raise his voice. He didn't scream. That almost made it worse. "What I don't understand," he said quietly, "is why." She pressed both palms to her forehead. "Oliver, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to." "How long?" His tone, low, almost clinical, made her eyes sting. 2 months, she whispered. He shut his eyes for a long, agonizing moment. When he opened them again, something inside them had broken. "Was it just him?" he asked. "Yes," she choked out. "It was only him. It was a mistake." He laughed once, a sound so bitter it barely resembled laughter. "A mistake? Claire, a mistake is forgetting a meeting or losing your keys. An affair is a choice. Her tears blurred everything. He stepped back from her, chest rising and falling with quiet devastation. I thought we were honest with each other. I thought if something was wrong, you'd come to me. She shook her head. It wasn't about you. That's the worst part. His voice broke. It never is. He turned away, to the window, to the dark city outside, as if searching for air, for distance, for anything that wasn't her. The silence between them was thick, suffocating. Finally, he said, "There's more." Claire's breath caught. More. He looked back at her with something like sorrowful resolve. "I didn't find out because you slipped up," he said. "I found out because someone told me." Her pulse pounded. Who? He hesitated. "Ethan." At first she thought she misheard. "What?" "Ethan told me," Oliver repeated, "because he's not just a client. He's been working with me for months." Her legs went numb. He continued, voice flat. "He approached my company first. Said he had insider insight into a major CEO, into her business stresses, emotional vulnerabilities, leadership weaknesses. He said he could help us win the contract against your firm." The words hit her like cold water. "Your firm," she whispered. Oliver's jaw clenched. "Claire, I've been working on a merger deal. A competitive one. High stakes. Your company and mine were both in the running." Her heart hammered violently. "And Ethan," Oliver said, "was my corporate strategist." She shook her head, stumbling backward as if the floor had tilted. No, that doesn't make sense. We met months before. He never—" "Oh, he did," Oliver said. "From the beginning. He targeted you, Claire. He studied you. He flirted with you. He gained your trust. And then he used everything you gave him." Her breath fractured. "He wouldn't. He wasn't like that. He cared." "He didn't care," Oliver said sharply. "He manipulated you." A sob ripped through her unexpectedly. "He told me everything," Oliver said more quietly. "Every meeting, every text, every doubt you confessed, every detail you shared about your business, your projections, your team." Her stomach twisted violently. Ethan had listened, comforted, held her, kissed her, slept with her, while feeding information to her husband, while working for the other side. Oh God, the betrayal hit like a physical blow. Not just betrayal of her marriage, but betrayal of her company, her trust, her identity. And yet, beneath the horror, another realization clawed upward. Oliver had known. For weeks, maybe longer. "You let it continue," she whispered, stunned. "You knew and you let it happen." "I didn't want to believe it," he said. "At first, I thought Ethan was lying, trying to manipulate me too. So I waited for proof. And when you got it, I still couldn't face it." He swallowed hard. "I thought if I confronted you too early, I'd lose you, and I wasn't ready for that." A broken, aching exhale slipped out of her. "But watching it happen," Oliver whispered, "watching you fall deeper into something with a man using you, using us, was like drowning." She pressed a trembling hand to her mouth. "What happens now?" she asked, voice small. He didn't answer immediately. When he finally spoke, his tone was devastating in its finality. "That depends on you." She looked up, confused. "Ethan gave me everything," Oliver said. "Full recordings, full transcripts. He thinks he played both of us." His gaze hardened. "He didn't." "What do you mean?" she whispered. "I'm not letting him walk away from what he's done," Oliver said. "To our marriage, to your career, to your company." Her chest tightened. "Oliver, what are you planning?" He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I'm going to expose him. Publicly, legally, professionally. I already have enough evidence to bury him." Her pulse spiked, not with guilt now, but fear. "Oliver, if you do that, my part in this will stay hidden," he said. "I'll protect you, even now, even after everything." Her throat closed. "Why?" she whispered. "After what I did." He stared at her for a long, painful moment. "Because I still love you," he said. God help me, I still love you. Tears streamed down her face. But love isn't enough anymore. His voice trembled with grief. Not unless you fight for it. She felt the weight of his words settle deep in her bones. Fight. I'll lose everything. I'll end it with him, she said hoarsely. Oliver nodded once. Good, because he's already expecting you tonight. Her breath stopped. What? I told him you needed to meet, he said. He bought it instantly. The betrayal twisted into something colder, clarity. Why would he agree now? She murmured. Oliver's gaze hardened. Because he still thinks you're his pawn. A long, heavy silence filled the space between them. Then Claire inhaled slowly, deeply, painfully. Tell me where to go, she said. Oliver met her eyes, not with triumph, not with revenge, but with something raw. Hope. Broken. Tentative. Fragile. Claire, he said quietly, if you do this, if you walk into that room and confront him, we have a chance. She wiped her tears, straightened her shoulders, and stood tall, not as a woman who'd been deceived, seduced, manipulated, but as the woman who had to reclaim her life. Send me the address. Oliver did, and Claire walked toward the door with trembling determination. But before she stepped out, he said her name softly. She turned. When you see him, Oliver said, don't just ask why he betrayed you. Her breath caught. Ask him, Oliver said, voice low and dark, why he was so sure you'd betray me. The question slammed into her like a blade. And the most terrifying part, she didn't yet know the answer.